Hi, been a while, been a month since my last video. I'd like to say I have an excuse for that, but really I've just been watching Doctor Who with my free time. My friends finally got me to sit down and start watching Doctor Who, and well, now I've run out of Doctor Who, so you get me again. Or you might not, depending on how lazy I am in the future. But since we last spoke, we had an election. It was kind of a big deal. See, the unfortunate comments about rape, the party had suffered some devastating losses, specifically in the big names of Todd Aiken and Mr. Murdoch. They did not do well. Too bad. And the presidency went to the Democrats. The Senate stayed with the Democrats, and the House has stayed with the Republicans. So, pretty much the same as we've had for the last couple years. We'll see if we have a little bit more in the way of cooperation, hopefully. I wouldn't hold my breath, but hopefully. Let's see. Big wins in marriage equality. A couple of states voted to say, hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with gay people getting married. Why should that be a problem for us? Which is an excellent question, and if anybody has an excellent answer, I'd like to hear it, because really, I don't see it. You want to get married, get married. It's none of my business unless you invite me, in which case, hey, free cake. So there's that. That's good. Wins for marijuana enthusiasts in a couple of states. And for those people who think that it's kind of silly that marijuana is illegal but don't actually smoke it themselves. So that's good in those states. Maybe some more states will follow on that particular bandwagon, and we can tax the shit out of that stuff and make lots of money for the United States. Let's do it that way. I don't know. Let's see. Alan West is a crazy person, but we all knew that. So there's that. General Petraeus, who is not actually a general anymore. Anyway, he is resigned from the military. Very important. So General resigned. Petraeus. General retired. Petraeus. Also retired from the CIA because of an extramarital affair, which is way bigger deal to everyone than it should be. Because me, I am not married to a man named David Petraeus, so I really don't care what he does. I mean, I'm sure his wife does, and they can work that out between themselves, but really it's none of my business, so there's that. Let's see. Wasn't really going to touch on that petition thing, because people are making it out to be a lot bigger deal than it is. Obviously, a few states have gotten that 25,000 signatures required to get a response. Personally, if I were the president, my response would be no. But I would like to point out, I think when I checked, there were some 800,000 signatures total on all of the secession petitions. And it is important to note that there are 314.7 million people in the country. Something like that. So if you subtract all of the people who signed the petitions, we still have almost 14 million people who haven't. just a little bit of sense of perspective there. I'm not really going into that because, again, I don't think it is as big a deal as people are making it out to be. So there's that. But I actually have a purpose for making this video, and I'm not really... Oh yeah, Doctor Who! I've been watching Doctor Who, like I said, which reminds me of why I'm an atheist. Not really why I'm an atheist, but my moment of clarity. Now, it doesn't actually have anything specifically to do with Doctor Who, but that kind of sci-fi genre. And really, I blame Gene Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry, for those of you who don't know, and I don't know why you wouldn't know, but if you don't know, Gene Roddenberry is the creative mind, or was the creative mind, he's dead now, behind Star Trek. True story. When I was a kid growing up, my mom was a huge Star Trek The Next Generation fan. Absolutely in love with Patrick Stewart. Completely in love with Patrick Stewart. So there's that. And why do I blame Gene Roddenberry? Well, other than growing up a Star Trek fan, I also grew up a Catholic, as I believe I've mentioned previously. And when I was in junior high and high school, my mom didn't go to church very often. She was one of those sporadic Sundays type Catholics. But I did. I actually spent weekends with a friend whose family was also Catholic, and we would go to church together, and we were in the choir, and we did Wednesday night choir practice and Sunday morning church services, and it was a whole thing that I did on purpose. It was like what I wanted to do with my weekends and my Wednesday nights. So one Sunday, early in high school, I am sitting in the choir, and we are all reciting the Nicene Creed. For those of you who are not Catholic, the Nicene Creed is something that we say every Mass, or they say every Mass. I don't go to Mass anymore, but it begins, "We believe in one God, the Father, Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all that is seen and unseen," and ends with "the light of the world to come." And I was sitting there in the middle of reciting the Nicene Creed, and an idea, a notion, a phrase pops into my head, completely unbidden and absolutely irrepressible. "We are the Borg. You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile." I had to stop myself from laughing. And I realized that is what we are. We are the Borg. You will be assimilated, and resistance is futile. And the next Sunday that I went to church, there was the notion again, and there again it was any time, subsequent time, and I really quickly fell out of love with the idea of organized religion. I know a lot of people, when they become disenchanted with their particular religion, start looking into other religions and try to find something to hold on to. Me, I actually did not. I fell out of love with the entire notion of organized religion, and so I became, I want to say I became spiritual, but I did for like 5 seconds, and then I was done with that. I thought that was silly. So instead of starting from a place of, well, what is the right religion, I just sort of went to, well, I don't know. I don't know what's out there, but I haven't seen any reason to suspect that anything is correct. So, and then I went on to call myself an agnostic for a very long time, and my ideas about religion changed kind of for a little while. I talked to my friend Kira, who is a Jehovah's Witness. And she had some pretty interesting ideas about religion. And she is still super, super religious. But her talks with me actually made me become less religious, which is kind of funny. Don't tell her I said that if you know my friend Kira. But yeah, Gene Roddenberry, I blame you for deconverting little baby Julia. And I found out way more recently than I ought to have that Gene Roddenberry himself was a non-believer. So he probably did it on purpose. I don't know. But yeah, that's my deconversion story. It is not quite as interesting as other people's. It is not angst-filled. I'm not really an angsty person. So, yeah. You guys enjoy the rest of your November. I hope you have a fabulous Thanksgiving if you happen to celebrate Thanksgiving. If you do not happen to celebrate Thanksgiving because of whatever reason, I'm sorry. I will be enjoying my green bean casserole. And I might make a video before then, I don't know. I haven't really got anything to say, but something might come up, so. Bye.